Hello everybody, and today we are doing a grammar lesson to follow on from the type 0 or 0 conditionals. So we're doing the type 1 conditionals today, or the first conditional. So remember that we have 4 types of conditionals. Last time you did the 0 conditional, and you should remember that all conditionals are made up of an if clause and a main clause. And what is a clause? Well, a clause is your sentence with a subject, a verb, and an object. So remember, you need a subject, a verb, and an object. And the if clause is any sentence, remember, starting with an if. So I've given you an example here. If I am late for school, my teacher will be angry. So it starts with an if. So we have that. So we know it's an if clause. Then we have I, which is your subject. I am the subject. I. The verb am, so it's the verb to be. Late for school, which is your object. Late for school. And then we have the main clause here, which is it's a clause. It needs to have a subject. Okay. So subject here is my teacher, and then will be is your verb. Will be what? Well, it's angry. And remember last time it was gets angry. If I am late for school, my teacher gets angry. But when we're using a type 1 conditional, we use will be because we're using the future tense. So moving on to the next slide. So when do we want to be using a type 1 conditional? Well, we use type 1 conditionals to talk about a possible condition and its probable result. So its probable result and truths. So again, we use it to have a probable result, so something that is very likely to happen, and truths. So in this example, if you miss the bus, you will be late. So the condition, if you miss the bus, if, the result is that you will be late. Okay? So again, we have if to start, you are the subject, miss is your verb, and the bus is your object. And then remember, you have to have a comma, and then we have the main clause, you will be late. You being the subject, will be, again, your verb. And you'll be what? You'll be late. So again, that is a probable result. I'm sure everybody knows that if they miss the bus, they're likely to be late. Okay? So because type 1 conditionals, the main clause uses future tense. Okay? So when we're talking about the pronouns, we use he, she, and it. Okay? Then we add will. So we add the will. You can also use you, they, them for plural. So you have he, she, it, your singular pronoun. You, they, them are your plural pronouns. And we add will and a verb. So for example, you will be late. You will be late. So you is your pronoun, will, the verb be, and late. And we have another example here. He, so the pronoun he, will go is your verb, okay, to work every day. Okay, he will go to work every day. So that's when we use a conditional sentence, type 1. And you also need to remember for your present tense section, so the if clause, remember your he, she, it, then you need to add an S after the verb. So if he misses the bus, because you've used he, if he misses the bus, okay, he will be late, okay? Because you're using he, she, and it with the verb for your if clause, you still have to add an S or an ES, okay? So let's just go over that again. So remember, it's describing possible or probable results. So it's really, really important for your tenses. If you remember the type 0 conditional that you went through last time, you should remember that both the if clause and the main clause are both present tense. So, for example, the last one that you did would be if we heat butter, it melts. Okay? So you're heating butter, it melts. That's present tense. Okay? But if you said if we heat butter, it will melt, okay, then you've changed it to a type 1. So here we have, if we forget the homework, comma, the teacher will be mad. Okay, so you've got your present tense for this part here. If we forget the homework, that's your present tense. Again, it's got a subject, a verb, and an object. And then the future tense, the teacher will be mad. Will is really important, okay, for the future tense. So we also have here, again, if I miss the bus, I will be late for school. Now, we can actually reverse the order or change the order when we're using conditionals. So we can actually have the if clause later on. So the teacher will be mad, like up here, we had if we forget the homework, the teacher will be mad. We can actually have the teacher will be mad here if we forget the homework. Because you're talking about the future, the teacher will be mad. So the teacher, the subject, will be the verb, okay? The teacher will be mad. Why will the teacher be mad? Well, it's if we forget the homework. So that's your if, again, if we forget the homework. So the teacher will be mad if we forget the homework. And again, if we have this one here, it starts with if I miss the bus, I will be late for school. So here we have I will be late for school. So you could be saying that you're just going to be late for school, but then we have the if here, if I miss the bus, because it hasn't happened yet. And you're talking about the future because you've used will. I will be late for school if I miss the bus. Okay, and that's the end of the lesson for the type 1 conditionals. So remember, we are using present tense for your if clause and future tense for your main clause. Okay, we use will with a subject, a verb, and an object. Okay, next we're going to go through some exercises.